What's up everyone? Yesterday I was playing around in Affix Assistant trying to come up with some alternative recipes for creating a 4-slot Guardian Soul unit that you could then use the augment transfer process to upslot to a more powerful unit. And one of the recipes that I came up with ended up being really simple to understand compared to what you would see in most recipes. So today I want to go over this recipe and explain how it works because I think it's really cool. Now another benefit of this recipe is going to be the potential to create a market for fodder for it. But let's just get straight into this recipe. Now this recipe is going to be for the 4-slot unit that you see a lot of people showing off lately, which is Guardian Soul, Absolute Glare, Crack 5, and Veteran's Resolve 5. So we're going to create Guardian Soul, create Crack 5, and create Veteran's Resolve 5. Confirm, and don't affix by upslotting. Now normally what you would see here with a lot of recipes is the fodder would usually have a Glare Catalyst, one of the abilities required to make Guardian Soul, and then either Crack 4 or Veteran's Resolve 4. And then you would have to do that for multiple of the fodders. And there could potentially be like alterations to this. In fact, let me just throw this together real quick. So this is like an example of something you might see normally. However, you might see an alteration where maybe Aether Factor is kind of annoying to make, so we can try and throw Glare Catalyst over here onto this fodder, and then move Veteran's Resolve 4 onto this photoner glare over here. So now we can just make Aether Factor by itself. Now in this case, we're going to have this new fodder over here that has Crack 4, Veteran's Resolve 4, and Glare Catalyst. This fodder is really interesting because compared to other fodder, this one isn't that hard to create. Like, it's still going to be expensive because you are creating Crack 4 and all that, and you're probably going to need to use Augment Insurance when making this. But let's just compare real quick what it looks like trying to create this fodder versus, say, one of these fodders. So I'm going to expand out fodder 1 here as well as fodder 5 here. So I just expanded these out real quick, and the first thing I want to show off is, if we're looking at fodder 5 here, you'll notice that the max amount of abilities that we're going to have on each fodder is only 2, versus if we look at fodder 1, some of these are going to require up to 3 abilities on them, which will make it a lot more annoying to create. Now another benefit that this fodder has over this one is if you look over here, fodder 1 only has 1 free spot to make Crack 3 by itself, because we're creating photoner glare by itself already. Now for our fodder 5 though, we're able to create Crack 3 by itself 2 times, which is really nice due to how annoying Crack is to create. Now one con about fodder 5 is that it has a lower success chance compared to the other fodders. Let's say we wanted a 40% boost on these, and let's say we also did same equipment, and then let's also say that we did this during a 15% boost week. Like, at first you're going to notice that this is now 81%, which is really nice, and this is only at 54%. Now, either way, both of these you're going to need to use an Augment Insurance for. However, let's take a look inside of these, though. Now, if we try to create this fodder 3 that requires 3 abilities on it, this is going to have a 67% chance of success. Versus if we go over here and take a look at the other fodder, let's say we wanted to create this glare with Crack 3 on it. We just use 2 glares and 2 Crack 2s. Confirm, confirm. And if we were to use a 40% boost here during a 15% boost week, we have a 100% chance. So everything in this fodder is a 100% chance. So although we have a lower chance here, we're making up for it by having 100% chance on everything inside of it. So when you see something like this, where this only has 54% chance, you would initially think like, well, this fodder is going to be way easier to make. But that's not really true because the process of creating this unit sucks. So the main reason I'm pointing all of this out is because that my recipe is going to rely a lot on this specific fodder. So let's get into my recipe now. We're going to reaffix this, and we're going to create it the same way, but we're going to move everything around. So I'm going to reorganize this real quick. There we go. And now you'll see that we have 3 of that fodder I was pointing out. After you create these 3, you just need to create Photoner Glare by itself, which we can't even make yet, and then we need to create Absolute Glare with Glare Catalyst, and then this fodder 5 is pretty much the piece that's going to tie all of this together, and we'll get to that last. So let's click confirm. I'm going to expand out one of these real quick, but I'm not going to go over it again. There we go, so I expanded it out just like before. I'm not going to do it for the other 2 though, since they are the same fodder. And I'm just going to put on these boosts real quick. So the next fodder we want to look at is going to be Photoner Glare, which we can't make yet. But it's pretty simple. You just need all these glares. Confirm, confirm, and use a boost. Now next, we got fodder 4. This requires us to make Absolute Glare, as well as glare catalyst. To fix this, you'll see we can make absolute glare by using a bunch of glare catalysts as well as a photoner glare. Normally, you would create glare catalyst by using all of these glares. However, we also have the option of creating glare catalyst by using glare catalyst. This would give us a better chance of success, and since we already have glare catalyst being used to make the absolute glare, we might as well use this. So we're going to click confirm, and you'll see here, we don't really need to organize anything, 40%. And let's put same equipment on all of these, because that's not very hard to do. And then for the last piece right here, this is the piece that's going to tie everything together. Unfortunately, I cannot expand this out in Affix Assistant, because this fodder is going to rely on receptors, and for some reason Affix Assistant does not have reverie receptor. Maybe reverie receptor isn't a thing in the JP version of the game, but it definitely is a thing in global. In fact, let me just show those off real quick in case you don't know where to get these. So we just go to the Rising Weapon Badge shop, go to Rising Weapon Badge 5, and if we go towards the bottom, there should be a bunch of units here. There they are. Right here, you'll see they have Gift Receptor, Elegant Receptor, but the three we care about is Soul Receptor, Factor Receptor, and Reverie Receptor. So in order to make this fodder that we want, we would need one of each of these. So as just a quick example, if we were to try and make just Astral Soul and Aether Factor, we could use Soul Receptor and Factor Receptor. Click confirm, and this is what the recipe would look like for this. You would just have the Aether Factor and Astral Soul, and then you would have the two fodder that have the receptors on them. Now, like I said, I can't show this off with Reverie Receptor because Reverie Receptor isn't available in Affix Assistant, but as you can see, it wouldn't be that hard to understand what you would be doing. It would be basically the same thing you see here. You just have another fodder with Mana Reverie and another fodder with the receptor. Now, if I click confirm on this real quick, we can check out what the percent chance would be. Let's say we use same equipment. Let's also say we used a 40% aid. This would boost us to a 67% chance. We could also use a 45% aid if we wanted to get it to 72%. I'm going to leave it at 40% though. This says we have a total success chance of 45%. Now, if we were to do this with Mana Reverie as well, this would come down to a 30% chance of success. So this fodder that we're making right here is going to be the hardest fodder to make for this recipe. So if you do plan on using this recipe to create your Guardian Soul unit, I would definitely suggest trying to get this piece out of the way first. If you're lucky, you may only need to go through one augment insurance to make this. However, there is a good chance that you might need to use a few to get this fodder done. Now, for the most part, that's everything that I need to talk about related to this recipe. I did mention that one of the other benefits of this was the ability to create a market for these fodders, and that's mostly just because this recipe relies primarily on two pieces of fodder, which is going to be the Glare Catalyst, Veterans Resolve, and Crack fodder, which you need 3 of, as well as the Mana Reverie, Astral Soul, and Aether Factor fodder. So if you had a ridiculous amount of Meseta, you could easily just buy these off the market. However, these fodders are expensive and they will probably remain expensive, and depending on how much the prices of crack and stuff go up, you shouldn't be surprised to see the prices of these fodders go up with them. There's going to be a link to this recipe down in the description if you need it. If you have any questions about this recipe or any suggestions, make sure to leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.